Hello everyone and welcome back to another video by SOCOMJohn. Today I'm going to have a Green Up Now podcast episode. And on the Green Up Now podcast, we really talk about third-person shooters, upcoming games that kind of resemble SOCOM, and we really just try to keep the name alive. On today's episode, I have a special guest called TexasToast. He's actually a lead developer for a new trending third-person shooter coming out right now for Steam and eventually, hopefully, console. So I hope you guys enjoy the interview. Like and subscribe if you do, and I'll see you next time. You want to tell us more about your game From Within? Like, what is it about? What made you want to dive into a third-person genre?
Um, originally, so the game was, I originally set out to build a medieval game, and From Within was going to be a medieval game, and I'd linked up with some guys, storytellers and developers. I had a story written for a medieval game. Then I was like, well, that's kind of a large task. After understanding everything that goes into creating a game and looking at everything from a larger perspective, I said, well, maybe I should tone it down. Let me try something a little different. Let me try something smaller. And then I went with a third-person shooter. I noticed that if in a lot of the first-person shooters, there's going to be a lot more stuff in animations and things like that. So third-person shooters was actually the easiest genre to approach realistically from a developer standpoint. So I just took it and I just kind of ran with it. And I said, well, if people play it, people play it. If they don't play it, they play it. I can't kind of cater to everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Wow. So that's almost a complete 180 to go from like a medieval game now to like a third-person shooter. So I was gonna ask, did you play SOCOM back in the day, or
I played SOCOM a handful of times that I can count, but I mainly played a lot of just PC games in general as a kid growing up. So anything from Call of Duty, the first Call of Duty, to Battlefield 1942, to Medal of Honor Allied Assault, Spearhead,
so
Breakthrough.
would you say that you kind of based your game over those games or about those games, or what would you say your game mostly resembles, or where do you pull like all of your your creativity from and everything like that? Because I know some people have a certain game that they look up to and they're trying to idolize, and something like that. Is there a certain game out there that you like and you're trying to have your game kind of resemble a little bit, or is this just 100% you're just going and do whatever you want?
Kind of do whatever I want. I don't want to. I think at the point when you start chasing the same ideas that everybody else is doing, you kind of stay in that lane. You kind of get tunnel visioned. This is kind of based off of I like Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. I like the Desert Storm games from back in the day on PlayStation. Close Combat. There's. I just I was like, well, I always wanted a third-person shooter that had up-to-date graphics with AAA quality, and I wanted it at a reasonable price at the end of the day. And I said, well, what? I kind of got tired of AAA quality games because nothing kind of piqued my attention. Call of Duty was getting old. They had the third person, they took it away.
Oh, don't even get me
Really,
started about that. That's I can't believe I fell for it too. I paid $60 for that game specifically for third person, and they took it away, and now I got nothing. I'm left with nothing. I wish I gave the
yeah,
money to you.
yeah. It's kind of it's a shame too. At the end of the day, for example, I want to be able to go into a game if it's a tactical game, and I want to be able to customize my character from head to toe, right? Helmet, contacts, plate carrier, just the whole 9 yards. And I want to have that unique to me. I want to have my own identity when I jump into the game. So I'm kind of taking that approach to where I want the players to have their own identity when it comes to playing on either faction. Kind of taking that approach to where if the community's happy and we're making the changes that the community wants at the end of the day, then it's going to be a good product. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So with updates down the line, for your game, are you thinking about doing like a poll system? Are you gonna have like a round table, like 6 people that are kind of like making all the decisions for you or with you, or what do you think you're going to do regarding changes in the future for the game?
So my biggest thing I've found, like even in the military, is sometimes you go somewhere and you kind of have a pot and you have too many people with their hands in the pot. You know what I mean?
Hmm?
And if you look at big AAA industries, they do the same thing, so they can't really make the changes that they want to actually bring in the player base. So I will take input from people because I'm a very open-minded person. I love feedback. I love criticism. It's your best teacher in life. So I will make the decisions, but right now, like everything's coming so fast because it's kind of just blown up, and I didn't expect it to do this. So right now, I'm kind of rushing around to get a team together for basically marketing and a team to help with the Discord, and I'm trying to there's just so much going on, but I do plan on having a set number of people where I can come together and say, what are the polls on this from the play test? What are the results? What's the main factors that we're looking at? How can we improve player performance? Or, are the players happy? What do they want at the end of the day? And how do you make them happy? That that's going to bring your game to light.
Mm. So I have to ask, I played your game a little bit last night and it looks really good. So immediately I wondered, like, how long have you been a developer? Because compared to every other game that's come out, your game blows it out the water. Any other game that's trying to resemble SOCOM at the moment, visually, your game is very pleasing. So, like, were you a developer before? Did you have a job as one, or is this just a passion project?
It's a passion project. I spent 12 years in the Army, and then I transferred. I got out of the Army. I transferred to the Space Force.
Thank you for your service, by
Um,
the way.
Appreciate it. And I do a lot of right now I'm help standing up a squadron here in Colorado Springs, and like building the geospatial foundation for that squadron with other geospatial analysts like myself. And I kind of look at it from a perspective. I've always wanted to play a game that was realistic, that looked good, you know what I mean, that played well. And I think taking that realistic approach to a game, that's what everybody's wanted. That's what everybody wants. They don't want these crazy anime skins. They don't want all these pink and purple and yellow and green colors on the character. They want to play a tactical shooter that is tied to an operational character, like operations. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah, definitely. Yeah, you want to feel immersed into the atmosphere, and you can't do that when somebody's walking around with like a Halloween mask. Yeah, I get it.
exactly. It's
So,
yeah.
if your game is ever successful on Steam, when you fully release eventually, would you ever consider developing for console, or are you just a PC guy?
Absolutely. I think to bring the game to console, if if that's what the community wants, that's what they're going to get. Whatever makes them happy at the end of the day. And I think it this is the foundation basically. This is a proof of concept for the game. So I would say, I mean, the cat's out the bag now. So I
Oh,
would
it's
say
definitely out the
caution
bag.
the caution the expectations, right? Reel them back a little bit and kind of take it from a perspective. Everything that I do in here, in the game, and the other people that work with me, like it takes time, and I think patience. If you have good patience and you're level-headed, you'll get a good product. And we're working on the controller support right now, and then producing it for console. That's a whole nother beast. But I want to get the solid foundation of the game that's good to go out the box, out the door, on PC. And when that happens on the full release for PC, I do plan on having a full release for the console too. So that way they're not, you know what I mean? Hey, you got it, we didn't get it. You know what I mean? Now the crossplay, we're gonna have to dive into that. I have no idea how that works because I'm still learning myself. Because I've only been doing this for a year and a half. So,
Wow, a year and a half, dude. That's impressive. To see what product you have right now and how fun it was to play last night. Doing this for a year and a half, like I love to hear that because it just shows me you got what it takes. You got potential in this game. So definitely love hearing that. And So I know we talked a little bit last night about options and how you want to, include a bunch of options in your video game because you believe that's what drives players to keep playing. Are you gonna add first person into your game, or do you plan on just staying third person?
Well, the plan is to keep it third person.
Okay.
I think that's where the game kind of gets a lot of the immersion from. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
At some point later on down the road, if the game's fully published and people do want first person, that will be that's on our back burner of things of priority.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, I figured I'd ask just because I mean, I'm a third person guy. I could care less if you add first person. But I remember we were talking a little bit last night, and it kind of sounded like you were gonna dive into it a little bit potentially. Have like a little click box or something that somebody could check if they want to play first person or third person
mhm.
or whenever they're creating a lobby. But
Yeah, it actually had it did have first person. It had we had a toggle switch or a key binding for perspective on P. If you hit P, it would have switched you back and forth from first person to third person. We decided to take it out because when we got into the animations for hand placement, weapon reload, recoil on the funnels and things like that, like it became a
Oh,
pain
got you.
in
So
the
that's where all that
know.
extra work comes in. Because I remember you said that
Exactly.
FPS is harder than that. So it's
Hmm.
crazy to hear that because when being a gamer and having no developing experience whatsoever, I would think that third person would be harder because I see a lot of third person games that have horrible animations, where the character does not look fluid whatsoever and he just looks stiff. So I thought that would be the hardest thing to, overcome would be having the character look fluid and actual lifelike instead of just stiff. But yeah, it's crazy to hear
Yeah,
that it's flip flopped.
yeah, no, it's a lot harder to create a first person shooter than it is to create a third person shooter, and um, that's why I decided to go back to an easier project, that I thought was easier to do and tackle and learn as I'm building, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think that perspective is if you're going to do it, that's the way you do it. And if you don't know something, go to the documentation, pull it up, read it, understand it, take the time to understand. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it with that I would say.
So I know you haven't asked for donations yet, but I know people are going to ask this because coming from the SOCOM community, there's been plenty of failed projects, where they ask for money, they deliver something that looks like it's $20 rather than $60, but your game
Hmm.
has potential. So I have to ask, are you ever going to open up a donation in the future, like Indiegogo or GoFundMe or whatever type of third party thing you'd use? Are you willing to do that, or is that something that you're just completely, dead set no on?
I'm I would say I am, for me as a person, um, I pretty much came out of pocket. I have came out of pocket for everything that you see, right?
Hmm.
And I think it's very important to come out with a playable game with a proof of concept for that game before you decide to start asking people for donation, right? Like as you can tell, we don't even have a Twitter, we don't have a Kickstarter, we don't have any of these things because at the end of the day, we were more focused on producing a proof of concept game that people could play and wrap their heads around and decide, hey, is this something I want to support or is this something I don't want to support? It's better than adding pictures and trailers and videos and saying, hey, well, here's all these pictures and videos. We need your money. You know what I mean?
Yep, yep.
That's the wrong approach. And I think overall that it's 100% the wrong approach. I know I watch Big Fry's videos all the time, and I agree with him. A lot of the community has been burned over the years, and there's nothing to show for it, right? People
Hmm.
put 20, 30, 40, 50, $60 here and there, but they have no proof of concept. They have no game there to play. There's barely anything that comes out. I mean, how do you expect people to stay on board? And I can understand when people get salty, and I can understand when people have problems, with doing that because I would be pissed off too at the end of the day. So I think until the game is in a actual playable state where a lot of the game breaking fixes are done and people can actually go in there and enjoy themselves a little more than they're enjoying themselves now. Don't get me wrong. I think that's when we're going to say, hey, if you want to, you can, right? At the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But just know that everything that you put into the game is going to go directly to the game because that's the goal. I mean, right now, I think I'm sitting about in development about $6,000 into the game right now to get
Holy crap.
to get the type of quality that you have now, right? Uh, looking at some other gaming companies, I don't understand how they can get hundreds of thousands of dollars and they can't produce a game. You know what I mean? With the
Honestly,
same type of AAA
put your
quality.
game side by side with H-Hour. It like, where did they spend $250,000? I just don't like. It must have been
Exactly.
all into trailers, all into getting the models, getting David Sears his new Porsche, something like that. I don't know, but it's crazy to see what you actually accomplished with $6,000. That's
Yeah,
kudos to
and
you, man. That's awesome.
and actually, I mean, I would like to give a lot of the people who make the assets and put them on the store, right? The people that we buy the assets from, that money is pretty much whatever, it funds their life. A lot of people from different countries, whatever it may be, and
Mm-hmm.
we're buying their assets, we're using them, we're incorporating them, use them as placeholders because at the end of the day, everything you see in the game is not always going to be in the game. As the funding grows or as I go throughout the changes in the game, I've already reached out to 3D artists to get custom characters made, sets for Russian clothes. Like, there's a lot of things we're trying to do and reach out to, but we have to start somewhere. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So on that topic, I don't mean to interrupt you, but with the asset topic, so what would you say to anyone who is against assets? Because I know you've seen the Big Fry video where he talks about it, and there's some people that are just completely against assets.
mhm.
What would you say to them in regards to, get them on the fence to allow assets or at least be okay with it?
I would say this: it's 2023. You're not going to get a one-man team that can build a game, right? It's not 1980. It's not 1990. Um, Indie developers that don't have money to dump into a game, they have to use the assets. There's no other way for them to build the funding or the income that they need to complete their game, right? Because if I go to get a character made, for example, one character, it's going to cost me $2,000, right? You're already cutting into my $6,000 budget for the game that you have right now. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I say if you're going to use assets, use them. But I understand where Big Fry's coming from because a lot of people will go to the store and they'll buy all these assets and they'll Frankenstein these games together. And at the end of the day, they want you to pay $15, $10 on Steam that a game that doesn't even, it's not even playable. It's not even, hasn't even, you can't even do anything in the game. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I do agree with him on that. And I think it's kind of shitty because you do have any developers out there that are using the assets, that are trying to do good with it. And it really puts a bad taste, you know what I mean, against their games and for what they do.
Yeah, I definitely agree, brother. Yeah, I'm totally with you on the assets and everything like that. I know there's, I feel like everything always gets ruined by how bad people use it. I feel like there's always some bad apple out there that's, like you said, using assets and Frankenstein and everything together, and all of a sudden everyone's against assets instead of just being against that specific person. That's like, hey, you're using these assets terribly. But
Yeah,
another thing
there's a
that
way to do it.
yeah, there's 100%. There's a way to finesse it and actually, have some passion behind whatever you're doing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you took Big Fry's team of developers and you handed them all these assets, or you say, hey, you took his team to the asset store and said, hey, make a game, they can make a game and that would rival this game, if not be better. It would be better,
Mm-hmm.
It, but there are bad apples, like you said, and it is what it is.
So on the topic again of assets, what is your biggest obstacle right now regarding development? What is like your priority at the moment?
My priority is optimization, getting the characters made for the Russians. Those models are very vital. Getting the UI fixed for menus so people can move in and out of the menus freely, fixing the download regions. You have to be in the same download region basically to play right test. My brother's actually he's a coder for networking, so he's decided to come onto the project and start helping with the back end game. And I would say getting the maps, giving people the opportunity to go in and play any mode on any map, and giving them the freedom to do what they want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. So is there going to be like a clan system like SOCOM, or are you kind of gonna like what are you gonna have? Is there going to be like a friends list, a clan system? Like how many ranks are you planning? Are you planning like levels? You know, like level 1, level 2? Or are you just gonna have a rank system like the army? You know, when they level up, like how is it going to be like that?
More than likely, I would keep the rank system the same as the army for the NATO side, and then for the Russians, I would probably implement a Russian rank system, and then I do want to have character progression through the game. And character progression is going to be based off of everybody. The camos you see right now are the camos you're going to have to unlock as you progress through playing the game, if that makes sense. So everybody's going to start with base tan, green, black, coyote brown camos, and as they rank up, they unlock camo sets, and then they take those camo sets, and I don't want to make any spoilers or anything, but they would take that camo set and go to a different, bigger game mode where they would battle it out, in a bigger place.
Oh yeah, cool, cool. Are you planning any single player, or is it going to be just multiplayer main focus?
It's going to be multiplayer main focus until the game is actually fully good to go out the door for multiplayer. Because right now we're running off the FPS multiplayer template with a lot of the assets from the asset store. And over time, we want to replace that and just redesign the whole game, but keep a lot of the things that people like. So like character movement, all these other things that they're enjoying so far. But yeah, it's pretty much it.
Okay. And about the clan system, are you planning a clan system, or are you just going to have like a friends list type style?
For now, it's kind of like not a priority for me.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that comes up and the community wants to do, then by all means, I'm not against it at all.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, honestly, that's all the questions I really had for you. I really do appreciate you coming on and giving me the time of day, answering these questions and explaining yourself to the community and why you wanted to create this game. Is there anything else you want to add to, tell the viewers, or, an ending
I,
message, any socials like that?
I do want to say that your expectations on a game, I think the viewers and the people that are playing the game, the people that want keys, if you're going to get a key, using the key right now, basically to get feedback on what people want to see, and just know that it's a proof of concept. This is like not even alpha. This is, hey, we're throwing this together. Does it work? Do people like it? Is this what people want to play? And then how can we build off of this for the community? So I just ask for patience, because we're not a huge team here. You know what I mean? So
100%,
just
brother.
patience.
100%. Yeah, definitely. That's a thing where I feel like it's hard to get lost in too, because the tweet that I put out yesterday just blew up out of nowhere, and your game looks so good that people are already thinking, "Oh, this is a fully done game. This is it. This is that." So it's almost like it's a gift and a curse having your game look so good, because people are expecting something so a high finished product, when they really should just understand, hey, it was a trailer that was put together. All the best parts were added together just to make it look cool, gather an audience. So yeah, like Toast said, just expect something that's you're gonna be testing a game. You're not gonna get a finished product right away. You're gonna be testing it for a while. How many people do you have on your team, Toast, as far as developers?
I have myself and another guy,
Yes,
and I
yeah.
also have a friend of mine that we sit in Discord for 8 hours a day on the weekends, 15, 16 hours a day working on it. He works on his game, I work on my game, and we shoot the shit and we help each other out and we drink. That's it.
It sounds like a good
So
time. So yeah, I mean, you got 2 developers, 3 developers on your best day. So yeah, people just have your expectations holstered. Make sure that you're just here to test a game, and don't expect a finished product right away. But Toast, I just want to say I think you're doing everything right so far. I really do appreciate you coming on and talking to me and my community. And hopefully everyone likes the video. Subscribe to the channel, and I will link all the socials down below. So any socials that Toast makes in the future, I'll link down below. Make sure you support the guy, join his Discord, ask how you can help out. And if you're a developer, help the man out, join his team. You know, he definitely needs you. And yeah, I just really do appreciate you coming on, Toast.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, brother.